When was it in history that the idea of assigning a number to a student's work was a way to measure what they know or how much they know, or the quality of what they know? Well, it turns out, as Kathy Davidson says in her book, Now You See It, that first raises its head. No one knows exactly sure, but it was probably around the late 1700s. And it was done at Cambridge University, most likely. From there it spread to Oxford and then across the ocean to North America, and eventually into public schools. But if you look at the way the universities today, well, at the time people objected. They objected to the fact of assigning any kind of number on student work, because the way you knew what a student knows was through essays, through their writing, and through oral discourse, and even through demonstrations. Which, if you think about it, those were the media of the day in the late 1700s. Even today in university, when people attain the highest level of education and get a PhD, they have to do it by writing a dissertation, and even that's insufficient because they have to make their oral defense. If you really want to know how smart someone is, talk to them about it. It seems to me that today, the media of today allows us to use text and images and audio and video in a multiplicity of ways and mash them together in a multiplicity of ways that allows students to tell the story of their learning. Narration was what was important way back when, in order to figure out what someone knew and how well they knew it. Well, narration is still important in figuring out what students know. In the history of standardized tests, people were trying to design tests that would measure as accurately as teachers knew which group of students belonged in the top half of the class or the bottom half. The tests were supposed to be designed so that the neurologists or the neuroscientists of that day, in the early 1900s, would be able to make the same predictions that the teachers already knew the answers to. So how can we use media to tell these stories of learning that are happening in our classrooms? In what ways can we mash up a multiplicity of medias to tell some narrative and share a story? Let the kids discourse and write using modern digital tools and do demonstrations using modern digital tools to show what they know. How might we mash that together, or how might you mash that together in your class?